But I want to say something to the French, Emmanuel Macron. You will be remembered as the man who presided over the death, the total death of the French colonial empire in Africa. Emmanuel Macron will be reminded or be remembered in history as the leader who presided over the death of the French colonial empire in Africa. That's it. When France is losing ground, it started with Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Niger, and it's going to continue. You have to look at the trend. Look at the trend. What is going on? I've advised these French leaders in my work on interactive socialization. I've advised the French leaders in my books that they should go away from this confrontational ways of dealing with people, not only African people. They should go away from all this boastfulness and be a little bit humble. Take humility. You see? Take humility as a social way of interacting with people. Hmm? That's it. But they never listen because they've been used to all these years of dominating African people, oppressing African people. So that error has become normalized in their judgment. It's okay. It's okay to go and enslave African people because the Roman Catholic Church sanctified you to do that. So it's okay to do it and no one is going to complain. But you see, there's time for everything. Fanon stated each generation has the moral obligation, you see, to stand up for itself. I'm just paraphrasing. Hmm? Those are the things. It's just a question of time. You know, you have to look at what you're doing wrong, Emmanuel Macron. Look at what France is doing wrong before you lose everything. Because you're going to lose. You can send all the soldiers of the United States Army, all the soldiers of the French Army, you can send them to Niger. You will not be able to win this war. Because this war is not just a war. This war is a spiritual rehabilitation. When you study structuralism, you will see empires disappear, sometimes for hundreds of years, but empires reappear, reemerge when the time is right. So this should be a time when you should try to, you know, broker new deals. Say to yourself and look, okay, I did wrong? You see, I did wrong. You know, let me look at other ways to do things with you, so we can actually save some, save some dignity. Because if you send your soldiers to Niger, those soldiers that are in Niger, they can't do anything because the war that you're looking for is not going to be the kind of war that you think you're going to fight. You're going to fight a war that you regret living your life in this world. If you fight against African people, it's not going to be a war by the soldiers. It's going to be a war by the people. The soldiers will be told to step aside. People who have not shot a gun would learn how to shoot a gun to stand up for themselves. That is how it's going to be. So you don't start this kind of war because it's going to be not just a regional conflagration. It's going to be a full-blown continental conflagration. It's going to be a big bloody war and you're going to run away. So we can see that what is happening in Niger, we can see that someone is trying to run away from somewhere. Someone is trying to run away from somewhere. Remember, when the United States was pulling out of Afghanistan, the French defense minister at the time, Jean-Yves Le Drian, was actually begging the Americans to stay in Afghanistan because France could not stay there alone. What makes you think that you can fight in Niger? Niger is 27 million people. Now, if you take the population of Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea, only those four countries, you have about 90 million people, 90 million potential combatants that you have to fight with because it's not going to end. You say you want to build a pipeline to go from Nigeria across Niger all the way to Algeria and to Europe. How can you build a pipeline when you're not in good terms with the local people? How can you do that? You can take and take from people and you don't give nothing back. And you don't expect the people to react. Gorbachev said it. You cannot continue to humiliate the people and think it will not have consequences. Your own leader, your own leader, what's his name? Jacques Chirac. Jacques Chirac warned you. There are videos on YouTube. Jacques Chirac warned the French that you have to give back to Africa. He said it that a very significant portion of the French wealth or the wealth that is enjoyed by the French comes from Africa, comes from the material deprivation of African people. So you have to have the good faith. He insisted on that word. The French have to have the good faith, not the generosity, but the good faith to give back to the people what you have taken from them. You don't want to do that. Instead of reflecting on what this, contemplating on what Jacques Chirac said before he passed away, you are insisting on entrapping African people through political intrigue, through gaslighting, through sophism, and through all types of manipulation, vile manipulation, to start a war, thinking that in that chaos, in that state of African disorientation, you're going to continue doing what you've been doing for the past 600 years. You have been in Africa for 139 staggering years, taking and taking from Africa and keeping the people in poverty. You know,